Good evening. Tonight on Estuary TV News. Thieves take metal from the church roof, causing tens of thousands of pounds worth of damage. And we find out what's upsetting residents in Immingham. In the studio today with me, I have Councillor David Bolton to talk more about the problem. Welcome to Estuary TV News with me, James Dunn. But first, here's Emma Lingard with the news headlines.
Hello, the headlines today. British Airways lands at Humberside Airport in a new deal. 3 are arrested after stealing lead from a church roof. And lorry drivers in Immingham have been making a nuisance. British Airways will be flying out of Humberside Airport after local flight operator Jet Extra secured a deal for this summer. The weekly flights to Alicante and Mallorca were launched to great success last year. It's hoped by having the regular BA flights, Jet Extra have shown their commitment to the region. In another move for the airport, calls are being made for its name to be changed to honour the local man who invented the marine chronometer. The John Harrison Foundation is on a quest to have the airport renamed the John Harrison International Airport, after 97% of people are in favour of the new name. This year sees the tercentenary to the Queen Anne Longitude Act of 1714. 3 men have been arrested after Goxhill residents spotted a suspicious van outside the village church, which had been the victim of metal theft. Police found lead and other items believed to have been stolen inside the van. All Saints had been hit by thieves 4 times over the Christmas period, and water damage caused by heavy rain could cost more than £40,000 in repairs. Villagers and churchgoers are now looking at ways to fund the repairs on the Grade 1 listed building, as insurers will only cover a small proportion of the work.
The insurers are going to cover us a very small amount. It should be about £5,000 we think we can get from the insurers. And that's not because we're underinsured. It's insurers in general will not pay out more than £5,000 for lead theft. So it is going to be a case of fundraising and appealing to the local community to help us. And if we can get any grants, but they'll be for small amounts, I would imagine. So a lot of work.
Inconsiderate lorry drivers in Immingham are causing misery for some residents. Drivers who park in residential areas are waking people in the early hours by revving their engines, and in some instances have used the neighbourhood as a public convenience. Police in the area are making regular checks and will fine those who break weight limits.
We've been facing a lot of problems with lorries parking in the vicinity of Immingham town itself. They've been waking residents at 4 o'clock in the morning, revving their engines as they set off. They've also been leaving products in bottles such as wee and excrement, as well as rubbish and other things, which is causing us a nuisance.
Despite some claims it's international HG drivers flouting the law, local lorry park owner Willie Weir disagrees.
I disagree with that, in sincerity, because I live in Immingham and there's a lot of English companies what are parking in lay-bys. And we've got to point out, we are breaking the law, but, we're passing a 7.5 ton weight limit to park up. Drivers get a night allowance, working for a firm get a night allowance. The private guy who's a private one-man band, he doesn't get the allowance, maybe it's him, but majority of firms and the major firms are flouting the law. We do get the paid, but we'd rather keep £12 in the pocket and not pay for a proper facility, which the ratepayers aren't paying for. I must emphasise that.
48 dogs were picked up in North Lincolnshire over the festive period, a figure up on last year. Out of those found, 28 were either reunited with their owner or found new homes. However, there are many dogs still in need of a home. Scrap metal dealers in the Louth area face fines of up to £5,000 if they've not signed up to a new licence. Anyone collecting, buying or selling scrap needs one of 2 new licences issued by East Lindsey District Council. The ancient game of the Haxey Hood, which sees opponents tussling for a cylindrical object, was won by the King's Arms pub this year. The game, said to date back to the 14th century, is played every year between the pubs of Hacksey and West Woodside in the Isle of Axholme. And that's all from me. Join us again later. Goodbye.
Is nothing sacred anymore? That is the question that the vicar at All Saints Church in Goxhill will be asking after a series of thefts over Christmas and New Year caused extensive damage to a classic building. I went along to find out more. The majestic All Saints Church has stood here in Goxhill for nearly 1,000 years, but now it's in real trouble. Metal thieves hit the church roof 4 times over the Christmas period, and heavy rainfall caused damage which could cost in excess of £40,000 to repair.
We first noticed that we'd had a theft just before the Christmas Eve service, and we had a rainstorm, and a lot of rain came into the church and wet this side of the church rather badly. And we sorted that and we reported it. We continued with our midnight service as usual, and everybody were very supportive. And then between Christmas and New Year, we had another downpour, and it was obvious, we could see daylight through the roof, that they'd been back again. We can't see this roof from outside, so there's no way of knowing that they've nicked the lead until it rains. And so more came, and then this last weekend, unfortunately, they came back and took the rest, and that entered the organ, our church organ, and thoroughly soaked the rest of the church.
Metal theft from rural churches is now an endemic problem. And it's this they want, the lead in the roof which fetches a high price at scrap. But 3 men were arrested after this lead, and other property believed to be stolen were recovered from a suspicious van that residents reported to police.
Janet, the other church warden, she telephoned me to tell me she'd seen a van on the car park, but she thought it was suspicious. She hadn't seen it there before. So I came down to meet her at the church car park. We looked round the van, we looked in the back, saw it was full of lead, and we phoned the police.
The problem is sadly so common that insurers will not pay out more than £5,000, which won't go far in a Grade 1 listed building. And though some grants may be available, the church may have to put its faith in the dedicated community that so readily helped to clear up in its hour of need.
The area that was covered was directly underneath a downspout that was taking all the water from the roof, which then decanted it all into the church, and we had a real deluge. So I put it on the Goxhill Facebook page and appealed for local villagers to come and help. And they came, and lots of people came, and all I want to say is thank you to them all. Because they came with mops and buckets and helped us clear it up. Tarpaulins, ladders, got up on the roof and helped the roofers to repair the roof. They were wonderful.
Now, if you live in an industrial area, you might expect lorries to find somewhere to park at night. But in one town in North East Lincolnshire, enough is enough. We sent Emma Lingard to find out about the problems in Immingham and what's being done.
It's not a new issue, but it's reared its head again. HG drivers using the town as a toilet when they park up for the night, and then revving their engines in the early hours and breaking weight limits.
We've been facing a lot of problems with lorries parking in the vicinity of Immingham town itself. They've been waking residents at 4 o'clock in the morning, revving their engines as they set off. They've also been leaving products in bottles such as wee and excrement, as well as rubbish and other things, which is causing us a nuisance as well as the public, as well as it being a health hazard to our local community. It's just something that's really annoying them, and we need to try and get a hold of and get on top of.
Some local businesses have been forced to take action. Gary Albury of Kingsway Tyres is strongly opposed to them parking where they like and leaving their rubbish behind.
Well, my staff had to clean up human waste, bottles of wee, basically takeaway wrappers and stuff, and it's just the damage they cause afterwards. And at the end of the day, it's not down to Kingsway Tyres or my staff to clean up somebody else's human waste. But what I've had to do, especially working obviously in a yard like this, is basically block the road off, because we was told by the council that the road is a private road and they couldn't do anything about it. So what we've had to do is 45-gallon drums at the end of the road with a chain and block it off. When we cease work at 5:30, we tend to block the road off so nobody can get down.
For many years, the police have worked with the local authorities to resolve the issue and will take action if necessary.
Things that we're trying to put in place to stop the lorry drivers from parking up in restricted areas is by visiting them on a night time, telling them that they need to move on, and also, if necessary, if they come back and do it a second night, they'll be given a £50 fine for contravening the local traffic laws of breaking the weight limit.
There is a lorry park with facilities and it's not expensive and is covered by the driver's overnight allowance. It's well used, but a minority choose not to, and it's them that Immingham has issues with.
The lorry park, when I first took this over, I got 2 skips in, which we started clearing all the mess, and like you say, there was a lot of human mess, which I got stung for with the skips, because you had to be registered waste. Because it's a human waste, it cost me a lot of money. But, you know, we got where we are now, and we're going in the right direction. People are using the toilet facilities. Round about Immingham, I've seen it myself, there's bags of human waste, and there's no need for it. You know, I know a lorry driver, he has to do his business, but surely he could bag it up and take it away with him, not leave it in the streets for kids and local residents to see. It is a disgrace and it is a major problem.
Now here with me in the studio today, I've got Councillor David Bolton to talk a little bit more about the problem. Hello, David.
Hello there, James. Yeah.
So is this a long-standing problem in Immingham?
Yeah, it's been going on for a number of years with the HGVs, and we've had a number of issues over the years, including the bypass protests and other things, and the lorry park, troubles we've had with the lorry park in the past.
And is this all lorry drivers we're talking about? Is there a specific group?
It's the heavy goods vehicles mainly, especially the drivers who don't live in Immingham, who come from away, and they've come long distances, I should think, and they just park wherever they wish.
And whose job is it to deal with this sort of thing?
I would think it's a partnership working really with the local authority, enforcement, and the police and the local councils. And
what is being done at the moment?
Well, I can only speak for myself. I've worked closely with Willie Weir in regards to the lorry park, which was owned by North East Links Council and had been left to its own devices sort of thing. And it was a free lorry park, and it was in such a state, it's full of all the human waste and all the rest of it, the drains were blocked, etc. And working with Willie, I got him the lease, working together with North East Links Council. We got together and we gave over the lease to Willie to take it over as a private concern.
And how much does it cost per night if these lorry drivers do want to stay there?
It's £12 a night, but that includes a meal and a shower at the county hotel, local county hotel.
Oh, right. So why?
It's quite, it's quite a good price.
Why would some drivers not pay that?
Well, I think it's overcome its popularity really, because in the beginning not many would pay, but now I went last night to have a look around and it was absolutely full, the lorry park, and so maybe it's not enough places or whatever, or some people will not pay at all.
Oh, so.
So
are police doing anything about this?
yes, they're working with like I said, in partnership with local authority and enforcement, and they're going out, and I know that there is a programme going on with the police over the next 6 weeks to reinforce the enforcement.
OK, David, well, thank you very much. Glad to hear that something's being done. That's all from Estuary TV News today. Join us again tomorrow at 5:40. Until then, goodbye.
Find out what's top of the Sports Discussion League this week. Join the team for new episodes of On the Bench, Tuesdays at 6.